Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It was a rainy Thursday evening, and I was holed up in my downtown apartment, my computer screen casting a soft glow in the dimly lit room. I had promised my best friend, Alex, that I'd help him find a date. He was terribly shy but a great guy, and I figured a little online matchmaking might do the trick. Little did I know, I was about to stumble upon a deception so deep it would upend my entire life. I sifted through various profiles on a popular dating site, chuckling at the quirky bios and occasionally pausing to appreciate a well-written one. "She's nice," I murmured, clicking on a profile. Just then, a suggested profile popped up on the side of the screen, my own face staring back at me. "What the?" I muttered, clicking on it. The profile was detailed, filled with my personal information, my hobbies, even my favorite quotes. The bio was written as if I was looking to cheat on my partner, seeking secret rendezvous. My heart pounded. I had never created this profile. I was divorced, single, and most definitely not looking. Memories of my ex-wife, Jenna, flashed in my mind. We had ended things amicably, or so I thought, dividing our assets and parting ways without a messy fight. Or so it seemed. The more I read, the more it became clear who was behind this. Jenna had the means, the motive, and the spite to set this up. I called her immediately. "Jenna, what's the meaning of this?" I demanded. There was a pause, then a cold, calculated response. "You should really be more careful about where you leave your digital footprints, Mark. I didn't create this. Why are you doing this?" I pressed, my voice a mix of anger and bewilderment. Her laugh chilled my bones. "Let's see how you like it when the court sees how you've been trying to cheat. I wonder who'll get the house then." The line went dead. Rage and betrayal boiled inside me as the pieces clicked into place. This was her revenge, a setup to paint me as unfaithful, aiming to take what was left of my assets in a twisted legal battle. Determined not to let her destroy my life, I reached out to a lawyer friend and explained the situation. "She's trying to set me up," I explained. "We'll get her," he assured me, his voice firm and reassuring. "This is defamation and fraud. We'll make sure the truth comes out." The wheels were set in motion. I wasn't just going to defend myself, I was going to turn the tables on her completely. As the digital evidence was gathered, my resolve hardened. Jenna had started a war she couldn't win. With each passing day, my plan unfolded. I would dismantle her world, just as she tried to dismantle mine. It wasn't just about the property or the money anymore. It was about justice, about proving my innocence and exposing her deceit. The storm was just beginning, and I was ready to face it head-on. The next morning greeted me with a relentless downpour, as if nature itself mirrored the turmoil in my life. I was early at the office of my lawyer friend, Peter, a stack of printouts from the fake dating profile in hand. Peter, with his sharp eyes and ever-serious demeanor, was already flipping through the paperwork as I walked in. "This is quite the setup," he commented dryly, looking up at me from his desk cluttered with legal books and papers. "I know," I replied, my jaw set. "We need to track down who actually created this profile. It has to be Jenna, but we need proof." Peter nodded, tapping a pen against his lips thoughtfully. "We'll start with the dating site. Subpoena the records, IP addresses, any communication logs. We need everything." The plan was meticulous. Every piece of digital evidence would be crucial. As Peter dialed the number for the site's legal department, I paced the room, thoughts racing. I wasn't just going to sit back and let Jenna's plan unfold. "Mark, come here," Peter beckoned me over as he put the phone on speaker. "We're speaking with the legal compliance officer now." I listened intently as Peter explained the situation, demanding the records under the pretense of a legal investigation. The officer on the other end was cooperative but cautious, promising to expedite the request to their data protection team. With that set into motion, I decided it was time for a more direct approach. I drove to Jenna's place, my heart pounding with a mix of dread and determination. I had to confront her, had to see if she'd slip up and reveal more about her scheme. Standing at her door, I knocked firmly. The door swung open, and there she stood, her face a mask of feigned surprise. "Mark." "What, surprise?" she said coolly, her voice tinged with a mock innocence that made my skin crawl. "We need to talk, Jenna. About the dating profile." My voice was steady, my stance firm. Her eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of annoyance passing over her features before she regained her composure. "Come in, then. Let's talk." The living room was as I remembered, stylish and immaculate. Jenna sat across from me, her posture relaxed, too relaxed. "You really think you can get away with this?" I asked, my voice low. Jenna smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. "I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. Perhaps you've been leading a double life?" I leaned forward, my hands clenched. "Cut the act, Jenna. I know you set up that profile to frame me. It's over." Her smile faltered, then she laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. "Prove it." "Without proof, it's just your word against mine." I stood, feeling the weight of the challenge. "I will, Jenna. And when I do, everyone will see who you really are." I left her house with a storm brewing not just outside, but in my very core. The fight was on, and I was not just a participant, but the architect of the counterstrike. Jenna had laid her trap, but I was building my fortress. The battle lines were drawn, and neither of us was backing down. The war of wits and wills had just escalated, and I was determined to emerge victorious. I start the day with a resolve as crisp as the morning air. Today, I plan to unravel Jenna's deceit piece by piece. My phone buzzes, a message from Peter. He has news. I call him immediately, my pulse quickening with anticipation. "Mark, we got a break," Peter's voice comes through, brisk and businesslike. "The subpoena worked. We have the IP address that created the profile. And guess what? It traces back to Jenna's home network." A surge of vindication washes over me, tinged with bitterness. "Perfect. What's our next move?" I ask, already thinking ahead to the legal ramifications. "We set up a meeting with her. Confront her with the evidence. It's time to watch her squirm," Peter suggests, a note of satisfaction in his tone. By noon, we're sitting in a stark conference room in Peter's office. The table is littered with printouts of digital records, the damning IP address highlighted. Jenna walks in, flanked by her lawyer, a tall man with an impassive face. She looks composed, but I see the flicker of nervousness in her eyes. "Jenna, we have evidence linking you to the creation of a fraudulent dating profile under Mark's name," Peter starts without preamble, sliding the documents across the table. Her lawyer picks up the papers, scanning them quickly. Jenna's eyes dart towards the highlighted sections, and her composure wavers. "This is ridiculous," she scoffs, but her voice lacks conviction. "Anyone could have used my Wi-Fi. But they didn't," I cut in, leaning forward. "It was you, Jenna. And we can prove it." Her lawyer whispers something to her, and she presses her lips together, nodding slightly. "What do you want, Mark?" "Simple," I say. "Public retraction of all accusations, a formal apology, and a settlement for the defamation and distress caused. Refuse, and we go to court." Jenna's face hardens, but the uncertainty in her eyes betrays her. "You wouldn't win," she counters, but her glance at her lawyer tells me she isn't sure. "Try me," I challenge, my gaze steady. "This ends today, Jenna, one way or another." There's a long, tense silence. Her lawyer leans over, murmuring again, his expression serious. Finally, Jenna nods reluctantly. "Fine. I'll sign whatever you want," she concedes, her tone bitter. But this isn't over, Mark. It is for me, I respond quietly. As they sign the documents Peter prepared, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. It's not just the relief of clearing my name, it's knowing that I faced down the deception and came out stronger. As Jenna and her lawyer leave, I turn to Peter, a grateful smile breaking through. Thanks, Peter. Couldn't have done this without you. Always got your back, Mark, he replies, clapping me on the shoulder. The afternoon sun streams through the windows as I leave the office. The air feels different, lighter, clearer. Jenna's shadow no longer looms over me. I've won, but not without scars. Yet, as I walk down the bustling city streets, I realize the fight has taught me resilience, the value of truth, and the strength to stand up against manipulation. This battle is over, but my journey continues. I've reclaimed my life, my peace, and most importantly, my integrity. And as I move forward, I know I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. The city is drenched in the golden hues of the setting sun as I stand outside the courthouse, the documents declaring my innocence clutched in my hand. The victory is sweet but not yet satisfying. Jenna's betrayal has sparked a fire within me, one that demands a more profound retribution. I dial a number on my phone, my fingers steady despite the turmoil swirling within. Liz, it's Mark. We need to meet, I say as soon as the call connects. Liz, a mutual friend who had once sided with Jenna, now understands the depths of Jenna's deception. Of course, Mark. Where? Her voice is tentative, aware of the shifting sands beneath our feet. At the cafe near the park. I have a plan, I respond, my tone resolute. As twilight deepens, we sit across from each other at a secluded corner table, away from prying eyes. Liz's expression is apprehensive, her hands wrapped around a steaming cup of coffee. I know everything, I start without preamble, watching her closely. I know you knew about Jenna's plan from the start. Liz flinches, then sighs, her gaze dropping. I was fooled by her too, Mark. I thought she had good reasons. But now you know the truth. And I have a proposition for you, I cut in, my voice low and persuasive. What kind of proposition? Liz asks warily. Help me take everything from her. Her reputation, her comfort, her peace of mind. She tried to ruin me. Now, it's her turn to lose everything, I explain, laying out the details of my plan to expose Jenna further, to strip her of her social and financial standing. Liz listens, her eyes widening with a mix of shock and understanding. After a moment of silence, she nods. I'm in, Mark. It's only fair. She deserves to feel the weight of her actions. Together, we orchestrate a series of revelations, beginning with a blog post detailing Jenna's schemes, supported by undeniable evidence and legal documents. Liz amplifies every fact through social media, her network far-reaching. The backlash is immediate and fierce. Jenna's name becomes synonymous with treachery and deceit. But I don't stop there. Using my contacts, I ensure that every business deal she tries to make falls through, every loan she attempts to take gets denied. Her financial empire crumbles as her social circle shrinks. One evening, as the city buzzes with the rush of the night crowd, I find myself across the street from Jenna's now modest apartment, the one she moved into after she had to sell her house to cover her debts. She's standing at the window, looking out, her posture one of defeat. I cross the street and enter the building, my footsteps echoing in the empty hallway. I knock on her door. Moments later, it swings open, and Jenna stands there, a shadow of her former self. Mark, why are you here? She asks, her voice hollow. To see for myself what becomes of someone who betrays everyone who ever cared for her, I reply coldly. You've taken everything, Jenna whispers, tears glistening in her eyes. Not everything, I say, taking a step closer. You still have your memories. Hold on to them, they're the only company you'll have left. Turning on my heel, I leave her standing in the doorway, the chill of the night air wrapping around us both. As I walk away, I don't feel the victory I had imagined. Instead, there's a profound sense of finality. Jenna is now a part of my past, a dark chapter that's closed forever. My phone buzzes with a message from Liz. It's done. Yes, it's done. The deception is over, and the betrayers have paid. As I merge into the nightlife of the city, I feel the weight of the past months lift. Ahead of me, the city lights beckon with the promise of new beginnings, and for the first time in a long time, I step forward without looking back.